Good morning, and it is another fabulous morning. Let's just show you around top end of the estuary. Isn't that glorious? I'm just on the top of the tide, just after high water actually. I talk a lot about tides because they are important and they're not. They're important because the right tide improves your chances of catching fish. They're not important because I'm on a tidal mooring, I work, so if the weather conditions are good enough, as you well know, and I'm free, I'm going to go out regardless of the tide. So sometimes I go out and you think, oh, you know, limited time on the water, poor tides, am I actually going to catch anything? So the last 2 trips when I went out was exactly that. Slack tides, very limited time on the water, both for tides and other reasons, that I only had sort of a couple of hours fishing. Today's different, so I'm on the high tide. I'll go out to sea with the tide dropping. It's high tide here now, so depending on how far out I go, that high tide is going to be in 2 to 3 hours time. So the plan is that I'm going to fish the low water, and then when the tide comes back in again late this afternoon, I'll come back in. So I've got an extended day on the water for me, for what I normally do from a tidal mooring, and also the tides are really nice. They're not absolutely perfect tides. They were about 3 days ago. So that was spring tides. The cycle is twice a month with the new moon and the full moon. The new moon and the full moon giving you the biggest tides. The spring tides, that's when the fish are on the feed, the predators, so that's when it's nice to go out. The perfect tide was about 3 days ago, when the tides were still rising. We've got what they call a waxing crescent at the moment, so it's past the new moon. We've got a sliver of a crescent which is getting bigger, waxing, so that means the tides are dropping off. However, they're still really good tides. So the plan is to go out, hopefully catch some bait. That can be anything. Mackerel would be fantastic, but the first 4 are coming home for dinner. So mackerel, scad, lawns, greater sand eels, that is, or pouting. Depending on how long it takes me to catch any bait, if I catch any bait, I'm going to head out to a wreck, and I haven't decided which yet. I'll see what the conditions are like. If I get out onto the wreck for that slack tide period, which is going to be 2 to 3 hours time, then I'll need some bait to put on the bottom, and then as the tides pick up, it should be really good for pollock. So I'm hoping for some large pollock. I've got some new lures which I'll show you as we go along. In the meantime, I've got a couple of rods set up, one with mackerel feathers, one with sabikis. I'll show you those when we get out there, and try first thing to get some bait. See you there. Right, first try for a bit of bait. There's a bit of a southwesterly blowing, which is not a problem. It was forecast. It's making it a little bit windswept rather than rough. But for a southwesterly in June, it is cold. Some small bits showing on the sounder, about a third of the way down, something like that. So we'll try the sabikis, see if it's a shoal of sand eels. Likely to be something even smaller than that. There's a cloud of stuff on the plotter, on the sounder rather. Look at all this here, that's bait of some sort. But I've got the sabikis right in the middle of it, and it's not taking it, so it's likely to be really tiny fry. But there might be something underneath it chasing it. Well, I tried several different marks inshore, looking for some baked mackerel lawns, that sort of thing. Didn't do any good with that, so I've come a little bit further out onto a small wreck with the intention of putting the mackerel feathers down for some pout, but I've still got 1.5 knots of the flood tide here, so I'm going to put a lure down and give it a go for a minute. So I've got my all standard stuff here, Shakespeare Ugly Stick GX2 Pen Fathom, normal rig. Three-way swivels are becoming more popular, but I still like booms. So boom to help prevent the tangles, bit of fluorocarbon, and the lure I'm trying a different one today. This is one from Lazy Lures of Plymouth. These come as a pack called the Bomb Squad. So 5 different colours. This one is the Neon Nibbler. Let's reposition and give it a try. Right, give this a try. I wasn't intending to fish this wreck with lures at all. I was just struggling for bait, really. It's only a small wreck, so the drift's going to be very short at 1.4 knots. Yeah, but if there's anything here, it's a bonus. Well, I've got what I intended to catch off this wreck, just not how I intended to catch it. Right, sending that Neon Nibbler down. I've got the drogue out, which will take a little bit of the wind drift out of it. The wind and the tide are in the same direction at the moment, so if I don't try and take a bit of the wind drift out of it, the lure's just going to be far too far behind me. Keep an eye on this weather as well. It's, if this wind gets up any more, it might have to be one of those days where, even though we come out here, we have to give it up. It's alright at the moment. Well, something's taken a shine to the Neon Nibbler. That's a pollock. Straight down to the bottom. Difficult to tell how big it is with this tide, this amount of tide running. It's fighting well. Really nice eating size pollock. Absolutely wolfed down that lure. There's fish number 2 to the lazy lure. Feels like another nice pollock to me. lovely fish, and that neon nibbler just in the roof of its mouth. One final drift with the neon nibbler, unfortunately. Yeah, the weather's acceptable now. If it blows up any more than this, it's just not worth it really. If there's doubt, there's no doubt. So nothing's going to happen in the next 10 minutes. So we'll have one more drift, and then we'll head for home. See if the neon nibbler can come up with a trio. Like a trio it is for the neon nibbler. This one doesn't feel as big. That's a smaller one. And that is in good condition, so that will go back. There it goes, straight down. Well, there we are, back in the shelter of the land. I've just come away from a small bay where I sorted out those fish, filleted them off. They're on ice. Yeah, that's one of those things really. Several people asked me, quite a lot actually, it's quite a common comment that I get, how do I choose the conditions that I go out in? And it's not prescriptive, you know, it's different for different people, it's different for different boats, different levels of experience, what have you. But the bottom line is, you've got to be comfortable in what you're in, and also you've got to be ultimately flexible. And there it is in action. It's a shame, the fishing was really good, but you've got to draw the line somewhere and make a sensible decision at a sensible time. So I came back in, slightly salty ride in, but nothing wrong with it, perfectly safe. The boat is very capable. We came in not because the conditions were too bad, but because of the just in case scenario, should it blow up even further. And as it is blowing up a little bit. However, it's one of those days where I can't get in for the tide. I've got about another 2.5 hours before I can get up the river. So the pouting I've filleted and sliced up, and that's just dragging along the bottom. The mackerel feathers are over the side. If the wind does ease, I'm very close to shore with Salcombe just there. So it's not going to blow up from here, and I'm certainly going to be able to get back in. So if the wind does ease a little bit, I might go a little bit further out again for an hour and try the mackerel feathers again. Nothing was doing at the start of the trip, but that's boat fishing for you, unfortunately. Shore fishing, you can do what you like, you can get as wet and windy as you like. You've got to temper that with a bit of common sense when you're out to sea. So if anything happens on the mackerel feathers or on the pout slice, I will bring you back. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see if the weather can let us do what we want to do on the next trip. Cheers. Well, found something. Is it going to be mackerel? No, it isn't. Nice little pollock. I was hoping that was going to be mackerel. Well, you can probably hear it on the camera. The decision to come inshore was the right decision. It's blowing a gale now. That's more like it. Very close inshore, just chancing it with these mackerel feathers. Feels like a slightly larger pollock to me, but yeah. A slightly larger two pollock. Really nice condition, these, from very shallow water. There's one. There's his similar sized mate. I'll move on a little bit, I think, because that's 2 drops in about 2 minutes for 3 pollock. Just move a touch further up and see if we can find some elusive mackerel. Well, there we are, just heading back up onto my mooring on the very first of the tide, with nothing more to report, I'm afraid. Those 3 small pollock came in very quick succession, and then I did have a look at the mackerel mark, but it wasn't worth bothering with. The wind had properly got up by then, so it was the right decision to come in from further out to sea. The day didn't turn out as expected, but it's sort of in the fisherman's DNA that you're full of optimism in the morning, and it's also in the DNA that not to be too disappointed when that early morning optimism slowly wanes. It was looking promising, I have to say. I didn't get to fish the element of the tide that I wanted to. I put it on lures just on the last of the flood, and really I wanted to fish all of the ebb. And even then the fishing was good, 2 nice pollock. So had I been able to stay out there for the slack period and then the ebb, I reckon the fishing would have been very good. But there you go, the best day of the year missed again. That'll wait for another day. So there was nothing much doing at the inshore, far too windy, so I moored up. The boat's had a thorough clean and all ready for next time, and I hope you'll join me for that. Cheers.